Now, 14 years after over 120 people perished at the Accra Sports Stadium, many of the family members of those who died in the stampede during a Hearts Kotoko march are complaining that they've not been properly cared for. This is particularly surprising as an entire fund was set up for that purpose. Could it be bureaucratic hurdles, or could it just be someone is not doing their job? Also, the election outcome in the United Kingdom clearly shows the people of Britain voted for economic improvement, and it's obviously conclusive for the Conservatives. What does this mean in terms of Tory policies that could impact Ghanaian and African interests? This is today's big story with me, Stephen Enti. Now, it's been 14 years since we lost several of our citizens in an avoidable stampede at the Accra Sports Stadium. Every year, we talk about lessons to ensure this never repeats itself again. At the core of the problem, however, was crowd management and police response to the misconduct of some supporters. Several years on, the key question is, have the lessons translated into effective crowd management and controlling unruly spectators? We're expecting to get into the studio Ridwan Ibrahim Asante with Joy Sports to have a discussion on the matter. So whilst we wait for him, we'll continue. Now, many of the family members left behind by those who died say nothing has been done for them 14 years on. A sister of the victims, one of the victims, spoke to Joy Sports.
Morning when I was in the house and he came to me, we chat about 3 hours and he asked me to escort him somewhere. So we went there and came back. And I told him that I'm going to work. So I went, we separated, I went off. Around 4 o'clock, he called me and told me that he's going to the stadium. I said, okay, that's all. I was in the house at around 7 o'clock watching GTV News. Then I saw something is happening I told my sister to watch. I was in the room when someone came knocking very hard. Giddy, giddy, giddy. Come out, come and see someone. When I came, what is it? Come and see your brother has get hurt. He's rushed to the hospital. What? Let's go, let's miss. I met them in the taxi and I gave direction and let's take him to the Senate Hospital. And one of my brothers said, no, he's giving direction to go home. What is happening? He said, nothing, let's go home. When we get home, that I realized that it's no more.
Now, some of the family members have also praised former CEO of Asante Kotoko, Herbert Mensah, for contributing to their upkeep. But Herbert Mensah says that wasn't his job, really, as he only just wanted to help create awareness so that society would help those families.
You know, it's not my job to look after the families. It's my job to make sure people don't forget the occasion. There's a lot of families who follow us every year that we are part of, 30, 40, 50 families we share time with. There are families that we spend time with during the year. There are some we pay their medical bills, things for the school, only because of what we can, not because we seek anything to do. We become friends, we become family with them. So we do them. It just happens that the date is May the 9th. So it's important that we celebrate May the 9th. It's important. The issue of what is done for the families, what foundations have been set up, you need to ask the government of the day. They never do it with us. They never give us support. They never give us recognition. They try to do what politicians do, try to shine in their own light, which you know is dim. I think the governments of the day have been hopeless in what they do, but that is them. I feel that they're a disgrace. They should be here today. I think their actions have been inactions. And I think most of what they do is a manifestation of their very inadequately small and misplaced egos.
We'll be getting Herbert Mensah back onto the telephone to speak some more. But Sports Minister Dr. Mustafa Ahmed was an eyewitness to the incident. He's joining us by telephone now. Dr. Ahmed, Mustafa Ahmed, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I know that you were an eyewitness when I spoke to you a while ago. What did it look like on that day? Was it terrifying for you, who was observing people falling to their death or being crushed to death or suffocated?
Well, thank you for the opportunity. First and foremost, I'd like to take this opportunity to send my sympathies once again to family, loved ones, friends, and indeed the whole nation for the loss of so many dear lives on May 9, 2001. Tomorrow marks exactly 14 years when the incident occurred. And when I said that I was an eyewitness, it's not as if to say I saw the people actually fall on that day, but I was in the stadium that day when the whole thing started, and I witnessed the firing of tear gas canisters to the crowd, to disperse the crowd, and I felt in me at the time, which I even also let out vocally, that this does not bode well for the health of the spectators. And indeed, later in the evening, to my chagrin, the announcement came that several people had lost their lives. And I went straight away to the hospital and was faced with the stark truth, because it was there, the evidence was clear, the bodies were there, some in the morgue, some in the emergency, and so on. So the harrowing experience, and I pray Almighty Allah does not let it occur again.
Very sad, really. Adok, we'll have you hold. We have Herbert Mensah, who is joining us on the telephone. We'll speak to him and we'll keep a conversation going. Mr. Herbert Mensah, good evening, and we're grateful that you could make time to join us at such a short notice. Good evening, Mr. Herbert Mensah.
Good evening.
You have been praised, singled out for praise for supporting some of the family members of the victims of May 9, and of course, as you said, that that's not really your job, and you are supposed to create awareness to ensure that society will help these families. In your estimation, are you disappointed, by the overall response from society, government institutions towards offering support and help to these family members?
Well, I think that we live in times where everybody must do what they feel like doing. I think that from 2001, I think the response generally from people in general, if we talk about officialdom, has been inadequate. I think everybody knows that. I think we've seen that right the way through to present. And I think that for something that is really the biggest single tragedy in the history of our country, we needed to show the same sort of equity of comparable behavior as occurs elsewhere. I last week spoke to the ladies at Hillsborough in England, Liverpool. I was going to visit them. I was in the UK, but we had to chat about their 26-year-old struggle for justice. They've taken on the system. And their words to me were, Herbert, we are lucky that we have the love and support of the people of Liverpool. We've been following Ghana, and we know that it's not the same in terms of societal support. And then I spoke to Ivan Koza, my old friend from Orlando Pirates. They had the stadium disaster too. This year we were hoping to bring all of us together here in Ghana, but because of the elections and then what happened in South Africa, it wasn't quite possible.
Right. So really, since there is a fund, this stadium disaster fund, what happened to the fund? I get the impression that from the discussions we've had with those family members that nothing really has been done for them, through this fund. What happened?
I wouldn't know, because I was never a part of the fund. Very interesting that since 2001, most governments try to keep their distance from me and our efforts, which I'm quite happy about. I don't mind politicians generally doing that, because we know that we are the ones who actually deal with the families. We have nothing to gain by publicizing what it is. It was a terrible event, and unlike a lot of the people who come and go, we were at the forefront. We carried bodies, we visited families, we are involved in bringing up children at school and so on and so forth. And Wednesday, I think it was, we met in Nima with 8 to 10 of the families from Accra. I brought in the families from Kumasi. and we had a great event, which was just so tear-sobering. Joy Sports was there that day, and they will confirm that it was a unique occasion. And then the mothers started exchanging telephone numbers, talking about their experiences and how they cope. The reality and the realness of the pain, as opposed to platitudes or press conferences or abstract soccer matches elsewhere, is to get in touch. And myself and the group of people who have been with me for 14 years that we've been doing this have found that this is the best way to do it. Today I was at the Central Mosque here in Kumasi. The chief imam, regional chief imam, is one of my best friends and is a religious mentor of mine, even though I'm not a Muslim. And we sat down with every single Muslim chief imam, malam, to say prayers. We brought gifts from those wonderful companies that had supported us, and then the families as well. And we've been mentoring different groups. We meet with the families, and it's open. It does not belong to us. Everybody who really cares joins us in this program. We do it throughout the year, but obviously May 9th is the point at which it all reaches a crescendo of being the time to mark the seriousness of this situation.
Notice. We're extremely grateful. We still have Dr. Mustafa Ahmed on the line. Doc,
could I say one thing, please?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
If you can say a big hello to him for me, Dr.
Yes,
Mustafa Ahmed, I consider him a friend.
Yes, please.
He's new in office. He marks the difference for the NDC in having a minister who actually wants to bring about change by listening and trying to work with even the most difficult people. And this year for May 9th, we extended an invitation to him, and I believe if he was not engaged, he would have been here. I told his regional chief imam that today, that we actually thought he might bring his presence today or tomorrow, but he was engaged. So we wish him best, and I just like to let people know. You know me, I'm very critical of people.
That's right.
His predecessor was a waste of time and a total disgrace to his government. But Honorable Mustafa certainly is moving in the right direction and has our full support.
Mr. Mensa, we're grateful for your time on today's big story. Thanks very much. Dr. Mustafa Ahmed, quickly, I know Herbert Mensah has praised you for being a person who is interested in bringing change to the situation. Can you quickly respond? Hello, Dr. Mustafa Ahmed.
Yeah, just first and foremost to thank him and also commiserate with him, because he was also in the center of things that
That's right.
And I know he's been grieving since then. And if there's something that he could have done, change things that day, I'm sure he would have done it. So perhaps we have to look at what needs to be done to affect a situation like that in the future. We need to continue to educate our supporters. We need to do that in collaboration with all our stakeholders. The clubs themselves need to embark upon a very wide and broad educational program for their supporters, particularly the major clubs that we have in the nation. We need also to appeal to other stakeholders, NGOs, to also perhaps wade into this education effort, so that as much as possible we can guard against thoughts, over excitement in our support for our club, and then also perhaps if we get the proper rudiment in training for our referees, so that they can come and actually officiate a match without creating any unnecessary excitement that can lead to hooliganism.
Right.
And also asking for professional approach from our security agencies when they need to apply any
crowd management tactics or methods.
Crowd management methods can be done in a manner that will only address the issue of dispersal of crowd, nothing else. No injuries, no incident, and that should be it. And also, perhaps look at the infrastructure.
Right.
We have sufficient safety measures put in place. Our gates, are they good? If the support system, are they strong enough to bear the weight of our supporters, assuming the stadium is fully packed? So these are some of the measures that we need to be looking at going forward to ensure there is incident-free matches in our stadium.
Right, Doc, we're grateful for your time. We won't hold you anymore. Thank you very much for joining us on this program. And we have back in the studio Sheikh Ridwan Ibrahim Asante. How are you?
That's flattering.
Yeah, you look good.
That's a shame. I'm not there yet.
Okay, so we should just cut the chase, right?
Yeah, cut the cackle.
All right. So now, listen, I mean, we know that at the center of this whole May 9 disaster was the issue of crowd management and control. I do know that if the police had acted a little differently, this wouldn't have happened. Yes. And 14 years on, what has changed?
Nothing. Nothing has changed. The only thing is that we're not seeing, incidents like this. I'm talking about the magnitude, but we've had pockets of, crowd disturbance, pockets of, security, unable to control crowd management still a problem, and that's still simmering in Ghana football. I don't think it will go, anytime. It will go away anytime. We still need to do more. We still need to
more in terms of what? I mean, Dr. Mustafa Ahmed is suggesting education. Is that it? Awareness creation.
When you commit a crime and you are not punished, or punitive measures are not taken, then people,
there's a great likelihood you could commit that
will
crime
fester, and that festers, and it continues, it breeds. Just last Sunday, after Hearts of Oak had played Joliba Club in the Confederations Cup, that's an Africa inter-club competition. Some of the fans went, nearly attacked the GFA president, and you know that within, this week has been a major talking point with the president saying he's even contemplating watching matches of Hearts of Oak at Accra Sports Stadium. Who are those behind? Such hooligans should be attacked. Assuming, people who really loved Kwesi Nyantakyi or were on the other side of Kwesi Nyantakyi also had reacted violently and attacked those who were on the verge of attacking Kwesi Nyantakyi.
That would have been chaos.
That would have been chaotic. And we need to prosecute hooligans, even for Hearts of Oak or even for some clubs. The last time Kotoko played here in Africa, their players had to leave the stadium in an armored car. Right on the tartan track. They didn't go through the customized or regular routes. They went out of the stadium,
which is
from the
which is very bad. So because in discipline, it has to be tackled from the root.
Yes, exactly. So we have to prosecute hooligans. We have to ensure that thugs, are dealt with severely, punitive sanctions or harsh punishments, given to thugs and hooligans, in Ghana football. When we start from there, when we start tackling it, then we can look at other issues, because when it's not broken, you don't fix it. When you have people comporting themselves and they know that when I go outside or I go beyond the line, you'll be dealt with. Then they'll come in and put up the suitable decorum in our stadium.
Right, Ridwan, we're grateful for your time on today's Big Story, and we know that we took your time. So now let's go to the United Kingdom, where the elections have clearly shown Britain voted for the economy. We have Joy News' Justice Baidu joining us now via Skype. Justice, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Right, I will have you hold briefly. I'll come to you. We have some, this is part of the speech that was delivered by David Cameron. Let's let our audience into it, and then I'll come to you, Justice. Right, let's get to Justice now. So, Justice, tell me, I mean, what does this win, the Conservative win, mean for Ghanaians and for Africa, mainly in terms of Tory policies?
Now, Steve, it must be said that the background to this is that nobody expected the result to be established as in a clear majority for the Tories as soon as less than 24 hours after the polls closed yesterday.
But why? I mean, why was it this way? I mean, why did people not expect that the Conservatives would win a clear majority?
Well, it's because of a lot of reasons. In fact, all the polls that had come over the 6-week campaign period had said that the Tories and then the Labour Party were neck on neck in terms of the seats that they were going to they were going to get, and so it had always been expected with the surge in the popularity of the Scottish National Party, which had claimed a lot of seats from the Labour Party in Scotland, where Labour has traditionally gotten most of its seats. It was always expected that there was going to be that divide, and it had been also expected also that we were going to have this long debate as to the formation of a new coalition, as was the case in 2010. But that has not been the case at all, and that has shocked a lot of pundits and a lot of people who are saying that this is really a shock. In fact, it has been described as a tsunami in some of the discussions that I've heard being made about this election, especially up in Scotland. But
right,
really,
I do know also that there are many Ghanaians and Africans who, from the Commonwealth nations, whose votes really are based on immigration-friendly policies, and that there is the notion that Labour is immigration-friendly and Conservatives and Scottish National Party are not too immigration-friendly. So it does surprise everyone that the key trumpeting issue became the economy. What have you been picking from the Ghanaian and African communities about the outcome so far?
If I got you right, Steve, you're talking about issues that has to do with immigration and the consequences that this conservative majority, clear majority, has going into the future. Now, immigration has been a huge issue in this campaign, in that there's been issues surrounding how immigration has net migration into the United Kingdom has gone up. Now, David Cameron, in assuming office in 2010, had promised to cut net migration into the United Kingdom from hundreds of thousands to tens of thousands. Now, a lot of people who fell out of the Conservative Party had said that he had reneged on that pledge of cutting it down to tens of thousands, even though if you look, the immigration laws had been stricter than it had been before 2010. But even that could not convince a lot of people who had fallen off and then supported parties, nationalist parties like the United Kingdom Independence Party, which in itself didn't do so well in the election. And so it is expected that it is really going to get tough going forward in respect
in terms of immigration.
Like the number of people that are going to be given the green light to get into the country. Even a lot of laws are going to be made stricter in terms of immigration. And another issue that I think we need to be looking at is how now the government is going to look at foreign aid, for example.
Foreign aid.
There's been huge concerns about the fact that the country itself is just recovering from a lot of the economic downturn that rocked it before the 2010 elections. And so there's huge concerns, especially from hardline people who say that the country needs to pay more attention to building its own structures here in terms of the economy, so that they need to cut back on how much it's giving for foreign aid. We know that Britain is one of the largest
that's right, foreign donors to Africa and African nations.
Exactly. And so all these are issues that calls for concern, especially in the developing world, where Ghana false.
Right, Justice, we're grateful for your time. We won't hold you much further, and thank you very much. We'll be coming to you to get excerpts, and as the days go and Conservatives take charge, we will be getting more update from you, and we wish you very well. Justice Baidoh is Joy News reporter who is based in Cardiff and sent us joined us by Skype in that report. My name is Stephen Antia. I will draw the curtains down now for today's big story, and up next will be Joy News Interactive. Do stay.